developers. Okay. Um, we got into real estate just by demand. A lot of business owners end up investing a lot of their resources into real estate, which makes a lot of sense. So it kind of happened by demand, and we began to see a pattern with the need of funding in this area, and of course, we sought to find a solution. So we partnered with different lenders who provided those resources to us, which was great. But we also found that it was great, but it was also a problem because we always had to figure out where were they going to get the funding from, what did they qualify for, what they didn't qualify for, what type of funding they could get, and with each scenario, there's all these different mishaps. There's all these different qualification procedures. There's all these different rules. And, you know, it was very difficult for us to convey confidently that we could help our clients. And many of them, unfortunately, even ones who thought they would get approved weren't approved. And they, even if they did get approved and got money on a particular property, you know, the next go around makes it a lot more difficult because lenders are always in competition. And, once they know that you've done a refi or something or got a hard money loan from another lender, they don't want to mess with you, so it's a lot of things. So a lot of trouble, we saw dealing with real estate investors, and we wanted to find a solution. So we did a lot of research, and we're happy to be able to be a part of this program that we're going to introduce to you right now. It's been working great with a lot of real estate investors. It's been a godsend, not only to me as a broker and being able to have this type of resource to convey to real estate investors that, hey, this exists, we're here, and we can provide this for you. But it's just been so smoother, and it's just been overall just a great addition to the funding products and services that we do offer. So I'm going to give you a nutshell of the Real Estate Investors Funding Program. It's actually pretty simple. It's not complicated, and it's something that I think is going to help a lot of people. So without any further ado, let's kind of get into this a little bit. And I'm going to put this on presentation mode. Okay. So as you can kind of see in this little subtitle here, providing consistent funding resources for investors. Consistent funding resources for investors. And that alone is really a breakthrough for this program and a lot of investors that we work with, giving them the confidence for consistent funding resources. So the reason why you were invited to this webinar is because we're looking to partner with real estate investors. We're looking for a partnership to help finance your investment properties. If you're a serious investor, you're interested in working with dedicated funding specialists, so you don't have to hop around every time you need money, go to this lender, go to this person, go to that person, trying to figure out where you're going to raise your capital. But you're looking for more of a consistent place to access our resources, which we have access to hundreds of millions of dollars of funding resources to help you close more deals and build your portfolio very quickly. Then we definitely want you to continue to listen to this presentation. We do focus on your needs, and that's why, as real estate investors, we know that this program is going to be very, very beneficial to you because we've learned what investors are really in dire need of right now, and we want to provide that for you. We are one of the leading brokerages to offer this program, um, particularly for investors who want to grow their portfolio fast, or they just manage and maintain larger portfolios. Um, so it it can be beneficial for part-time investors, but you'll get most of the benefit for our clients, the clients that get the best benefits, kind of tongue tied here for a second, are the ones who, are full-time investors. They're dedicated to this. They own property management companies. This is what they do. So they're going to get the biggest bang for their buck in this particular um, in this particular program. So we want to welcome you to the club. So as you can see, what we do is we consistently allow you to fund up to 8 real estate deals per month. 8 real estate deals per month. Now, that may not sound like a lot to some people, but in actuality, that's a lot, especially when you're dealing with paperwork and title companies. I've never even had an investor to do more than 8 deals per month, like unless they're going to do like a portfolio lending scenario where they're just going to, off the bat purchase 65 properties in one portfolio. That's different. Okay. We can do portfolios as well. Okay. But if you're doing individual properties, you can do up to 8 of these a month. So whether you want to refinance it, whether you want to do a fix or flip, or whether you just want to just go and acquire a property, we can fund you on 8 deals per month. Okay. So I'm just going to go over the program details, okay, which is really great, really great. Like I said, we fund up to 8 real estate deals for you per month, and these are asset-based loans, okay? So we don't if as an investor you're going out trying to raise capital for funding to get some properties or to do some development work or purchase a portfolio, whatever you're trying to do. A lot of times it's based on your personal credit. You got to fill out all these forms, got to go through this extraneous approval process just for them to say no. You get all these inquiries on your credit. We bypass all that for you. We only focus on the property. So we don't focus on your personal credit abilities. Okay. So we don't need any type of employment verifications. We don't need any type of income verification. We don't need any type of tax returns or any 4506. No debt to income calculations. We don't go deep into your personal finance or even the personal finance of the business, because these are asset-based loans. We're only looking at the property, what the property's worth, how much property can produce. You are experienced, and everyone on this webinar are experienced real estate investors. So we know what you're doing. It's pretty much mathematics. We know how to run comps as well to see the actual worth of the investment. And so it's pretty no-brainer. You acquire property, you fix it, you flip it, you make your money for it. All right. Another really great and important factor in this program is we do off-balance sheet financing. So we do not report to your credit. This is hugely important. For one, because, lenders look at your credit. Lenders look at all of the loans that you have out and all these things. And if you have too many on there, it just looks really bad. And a lot of lenders do not want to work with clients who have so many different mortgages on their account, And on top of that, sometimes real estate deals go bad, So God forbid and it happens sometimes, you get in a bad deal. You don't have to ruin your credit over it because we don't report to your credit. So this is private lending, okay? I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm just really going to kind of go over the most important ones. You got 30 days seasoning on refis. You could do long-term buy and holds with us. This is not hard money. It's not hard money. This is a more sophisticated approach to funding your deals. When you're dealing with hard money, you're dealing with money that is extremely high in interest and has to be paid back fairly fast. So it really only works for a fix and flip situation. But even in fix and flip situations, sometimes things take much longer than they need to take. And so you can easily get yourself in a situation if you don't know what you're doing, or you just kind of run against the bad luck. Okay. Again, like I kind of mentioned, we do portfolio loans. So if you want to acquire 20 properties, you can do that. It's up to 2 million. So we can do portfolio loans. Up to 80% loan to value on purchases and 75% on refi cash out. So, whatever the property is worth, we can do up to 80%. And the reason why it's up to 80% is because some counties, we have different percentage. Some counties are at 75. Even on refis, Cook County is at 70% on refis. Okay, so we can finance up to 75% of the property value if it's a refi, up to 80% of the property value if you're just going to outright purchase it, which means you would need to put 20% down. Okay. Now, their minimum purchase price, $75K, max is, like I said, $2 million. All right. Now, I do want to, while we're kind of going over these details for 1 second, I do want to also go over our zero out of pocket for investors program. We have that as well. Okay. If you're interested in doing a zero pocket, what I would say is just give me a call or fill out the access to funding form somewhere on the page of the video, or you can actually go on the website acceleratebusinessfunding.com and just click that button and we can talk about this. We have a great program, but this is really specifically for beginner investors who don't have a lot of money, who don't have a lot of capital. So if you're one of those investors on, this presentation, we have access to covering 100% of the rehab and 100% of the home value for you to acquire those properties and fix and flip them, or create your strategy, buy and hold, or whatever you're trying to do. Okay, so I did want to mention that because I think in the last presentation I left this out, which is huge. I don't think there's any other funding brokerages that can give you that with a lot of the same qualifications as well. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so like I mentioned before, we don't do income verification. We don't need tax returns. A lot of documents that you would need to get access to funding, we do not need. It's a pretty smooth process. I always tell people the first property that we do, it may take a little bit longer because there's a lot of paperwork about you and your company that we need that we don't have. Once you get to your second and your third or your fourth, fifth property, everything just goes very smooth. As you can see on this screen here, we don't require that much. 2 forms of ID. We do a credit inquiry. There is a minimum credit score of 660, We can't work with anyone below 660 as of right now, unless you're going to do the zero down program, because we've kind of incorporated, when you're dealing with beginner investors, you're probably going to have some credit issues. So that's kind of built into that zero down program. Okay. So if you don't have credit issues, you should have at least a 660. If you do have credit issues, we do have an alternative for you, which could be a better alternative. Who knows, depending on the situation. You need insurance. We would need title information, a voided check, copy of, if you have anyone in the property, we would need leases. And then you will also do an electronic asset verification for bank statements, just to see some of your cash flow, because when it comes to acquiring property, we do ask that you have 3 months of what the mortgage would be in your account already, okay? And it should have that balance in there for at least 2 months. That just kind of shows us that you have some financial stability to take on a mortgage payment, okay? By far, and this could sound a bit biased, but we are just the fastest and easiest way for you to purchase or refinance your investment properties. It's once you, and we do this, like we say, we do 8 properties a month for you. So we want you to have a home with us. I mean, it's not like you can't go anywhere else, but the ease of doing business with us, I have investors that literally just go grab a property, send me over the paperwork, and we're closing in 2-3 weeks. And they already know that they're approved for the funding. They just know that they just need to send in the paperwork, and we give them the money. I mean, how freeing is that as an investor? You don't have to worry about where you're going to get the money, what bank you're going to go to, what brokerage you're going to, who's going to fund this deal. You know exactly what you have access to. And as an investor, that's a very powerful position to be in. It's almost like you have unlimited resources. You can go out and just grab 8 properties, So once you get into our company, you get into, we like to call it the club, because, when you have this type of resource, it makes you feel special. It makes you feel a little bit special. And it's not necessarily that you have to get 8 properties a month. You can do 1 property a year. You can just do 1 property one time ever. You don't have to do, but that anytime there's an opportunity, or there's something that a property that you really want to put in your portfolio, you just give us a call, you know what I mean? And we say, hey, okay, just get us this paperwork, and bam, we got you. If there's any reason that we can't fund the deal, you would know far in advance because our requirements are very little, as you can see. So how do you start it? I kind of mentioned this before. If you want to get started, there's an access funding link on the website, or somewhere on the page of this video, there's a link. Just fill that form out. It's just going to access your name, number, just basic information. If you have a property that, you want to refinance something, we may ask for address or something like that. So, or if you just want to know a little bit more about how, okay, well, maybe I don't have a property, maybe I don't have a refinance, but, I just want to kind of introduce myself to your brokerage and, feel confident that when I do find a property, I can give you a call. Some people, after they see my webinars, they just want to kind of talk to me and just, get a feel for, their approach moving forward, and feel comfortable that when they do get a property or they do see an opportunity, that they can give me a call, and, they got all their questions answered. So, yeah, that's pretty much everything in a nutshell. That's pretty much everything in a nutshell. The program is really simple. It's almost too good to be true. But again, you know, get in contact with me by, you know, filling out the access to funding. That way I have your information. I can contact you and kind of know a little bit about who you are and what you have and whatever information that you think would be, you know, relevant. So if there's any questions, you can put it in the chat box. You can email me. Okay, I got one question from Carolyn. Hey, Carolyn, how are you doing? She says, how long does it take to close a deal on average from start to finish? It usually takes 21 days. Lately, it's been a little bit longer, mainly because of paperwork. You know what I mean? The sooner you get the paperwork into us, the sooner we can do our job. Sometimes paperwork can take a little bit longer. You know, sometimes we do deals where, you know, people have properties in the trust, or they have to wait for an insurance to come back or something. So those little things can hold the process. So without the process being held up, it usually takes 3 weeks. Okay. That includes an appraisal. That includes, you know, the application. That includes just the whole process that we take. It takes about 3 weeks. I like to say 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. But the first time you do it, it may take a little bit longer, maybe a week or two longer, just because, you know, we need to make sure we have your entity documents. A lot of people don't have those entity documents on hand. Sometimes they have to order it from the state or whatever that, you know, however that goes. Now, if you're trying to acquire a property and you feel like, well, 2-3 weeks is too long, closing a property usually takes about a month. Okay. And once we have the purchase agreement and we know that we're getting the funds, we have, you know, you're qualified for the funds, which I always tell people, by the time you get done with this presentation, you're going to know whether you're qualified for funds or not. Because again, the program is very, very simple. It's asset based. So a lot of things that would normally disqualify you when you go through a bank or any other lending organization, we don't look at it. So we just look at the asset. So, you know, asset with some basic requirements, if you meet those things, you are qualified for funding. And it's very simple and it's very true, you know. So once you, and you know, when you're purchasing a property, you know, whoever you're purchasing it from, once they know that you've got the purchase agreement and you're getting the funds, you know, they're not going to have a problem with that, you know. So, but once after your first property, it usually takes, it goes really fast after that, like 3 to 4 weeks after, I would say, after you do your first property. Because the first property sometimes are just a little bit slower, again, because there's paperwork that we need. You know, this is your first time, so, you know, we need copies of driver's license, entity statements, you know, so security, a lot of things, you know, just to create your account with us. But after that, once you get your properties, or start to accumulate more properties, you know, we have most of your information. So you would just typically need to send us the insurance, maybe a purchase agreement, and some leases, you know, and that's kind of pretty much it. You know, we usually have everything else. So hope I answered your question. Okay. Joe. Hey, Joe. How's it going? Do you guys do commercial properties with this program? With this particular program, no. We don't do it with this particular program. This is for residential and vacation properties. And thank you so much for actually answering that question. Yeah, because that's huge. This is for this particular program is for residential and vacation properties, investment properties. Okay, we don't do this for commercial investments. This particular program, if you have commercial, um, we can do commercial. Actually, you know what? I take that back. We've got so much. We got so much great things happening in this brokerage, like all the time. I totally forget. We actually was crazy. They just let me know that this program now qualifies for commercial. So actually, if you would have asked that question like last week, it would have been no. But they just notified me that we can do commercial with this. So yeah. So if you have any commercial deals, just contact me personally. Just fill out that access to funding. Put down, hey, this is Joe. I asked about commercial, and I'll get back to you. Okay. But yeah, we can actually do commercial. So great question, Joe. Thanks a lot. Any other question? Any other questions? Okay. Well, if you do have any more questions, I'm not going to hold you guys here for questions. I just wanted to ask maybe one or two just to kind of get it out the way. But if you seriously have any more questions, just go to the Access Funding link, go to the website, acceleratebusinessfunding.com. Find the Access Funding links. Is probably under the Investors Funding tab, I'm sure. You can contact me. You can call us. Numbers 815-293-7356. I think most of you guys have my information on that. And yeah, if you have any properties or any deals that you wanna get started on funding, just let me know. I want to thank each and every one of you for just getting on this call, allow me to speak my piece, and I hope you guys have a great day. I look forward to speaking with some of you. All right, ciao.